All right, welcome to The Explainer. You know that feeling, right? You stand up a bit too fast and suddenly, whoa, the room spins. Well, today we're digging into what that head rush is all about. And trust me, it's a signal from your body that you definitely want to pay attention to.
Yeah, that's the one. You pop up from the couch, the room kind of tilts, maybe you see a few stars, a classic head rush. But what if I told you that little dizzy spell could actually be a warning sign for something, well, a lot more serious?
So that feeling, it's not just some weird random quirk your body does. Nope, it's a very specific thing happening inside you, and it has a proper medical name. It's called orthostatic hypotension. And just understanding what that term means is the first huge step toward getting a handle on it.
And this isn't just some vague, oh, I feel dizzy thing. Doctors have a really precise way to define it. See, orthostatic hypotension, or OH for short, is when your blood pressure takes a specific dive right after you stand up. We're talking a drop of at least 20 points in that top number, your systolic, or 10 points in the bottom one, the diastolic. It's kind of like a 20/10 rule. If that happens, you've got the diagnosis.
So that raises a question, right? Why doesn't this happen every single time we stand up? I mean, we stand up all day long. Well, it's because our bodies are just incredibly smart. There's this amazing balancing act going on inside us that most of the time keeps us perfectly steady.
And the hero of this whole story? It's a brilliant little system called the barrel reflex. You can think of it like your body's own internal super-fast thermostat for blood pressure. It's totally automatic, and its whole job is to fight against gravity the second you decide to stand.
Okay, so picture this. Here's how it works step by step. The moment you stand up, gravity just yanks a whole bunch of blood, we're talking up to a liter of it, down into your legs. Instantly, these tiny pressure sensors in your arteries, called baroreceptors, detect that drop and shoot an SOS signal straight to your brain. Your brain gets the message and immediately goes into action mode, telling your heart to beat faster and your blood vessels to squeeze tight. It's this incredible, lightning-fast response that literally keeps you from fainting every time you get up.
So when we talk about orthostatic hypotension, well, it's pretty simple, really. It's what happens when that amazing system fails. For whatever reason, that baroreflex response is just too slow or maybe too weak to do its job properly. And for a moment, your brain just doesn't get enough blood flow. That's your dizziness right there.
All right, so I know what you might be thinking. Okay, a little dizzy spell, what's the big deal? And that's a fair question. But this is where things get, well, a lot more serious, because that very common feeling is actually tied to some pretty significant hidden risks.
First of all, let's be clear. This is not some rare, obscure condition. We're talking about 1 in 5 adults over the age of 60. That is a huge number. And as our population gets older, you can bet that millions more people are going to be dealing with this.
And here it is. This is the statistic that really makes you stop and think. Major studies have found that having orthostatic hypertension is linked to a 50% higher risk of death from any cause. A 50% increase. All of a sudden, that little dizzy spell doesn't seem so little anymore, does it? It's a serious red flag.
So why? Why such a scary number? Well, for one, that dizziness can lead to falls and fainting, which is a huge deal, especially for older folks. But it goes even deeper. Those constant swings in blood pressure put a ton of stress on your system, and they're a major risk factor for a whole list of cardiovascular problems. We're talking stroke, heart failure, you name it. And that is why paying attention to that head rush is so important.
Okay, so if this is so common and the risks are so high, what's actually causing it? Let's peel back the layers and look at some of the usual suspects.
You know, the triggers can be surprisingly simple things from our everyday lives. Not drinking enough water? That's a huge one. Kind of ironic, but some medications, especially ones for high blood pressure, can actually cause it. And look, as we all get older, that baroreflex system just naturally slows down a bit. Even things like being out in the heat for too long or maybe having a couple of drinks can be enough to throw the whole system out of whack.
So doctors usually split these causes into 2 main categories. First, there's non-neurogenic. Think of this like an outside force, like dehydration, that's just overwhelming a system that's otherwise working fine. But then there's neurogenic, and this one's a bit more serious. This is when the problem is with the body's internal wiring itself. The autonomic nervous system isn't working right, and you often see this with conditions like Parkinson's disease or diabetes.
Okay, enough of the scary stuff. Let's get to the good news, because there is a lot of it. There are some incredibly effective, super simple things you can do, no drugs involved, to manage this.
And honestly, this is my favorite part, because it's all about taking back control. So let's go through the ABCs of how to stay. All right, first up, A is for abdominal compression. It's as simple as it sounds, wearing a basic elastic binder around your waist during the day. What it does is physically prevent all that blood from pooling in your abdomen when you stand up. Brilliant. Then we have B for a bolus of water. This is amazing. If you quickly drink 2 big glasses, about 16 ounces of cold water, it actually triggers a response that raises your blood pressure for up to 2 hours. And one more B, bed up. Just propping up the head of your bed by a few inches at night can make a real difference.
C is for countermaneuvers. These are your secret weapons. Physical moves you can do the second you start to feel woozy. Things like crossing your legs and tensing up your leg and butt muscles, or rising up on your toes a few times. What you're doing is physically squeezing that blood from your lower body back up to where it needs to be, your heart and your brain. It's like giving your body an instant manual override.
But here is an even better idea. Why wait until you're already feeling dizzy? You can get ahead of the game. You can be proactive. Think of it like doing a quick pre-flight check before the main event, which, in this case, is simply standing up.
And this pre-flight check is so simple. While you're still sitting down, just pump your ankles up and down about 20 times. Then, still seated, march your knees up and down 20 times. That's it. These simple little moves fire up your calf muscles, which are often called the body's second heart, and they start pushing blood north, getting your whole system ready for the change in posture.
And to round it all out, we've got E and F. E is for education and exercise. Just knowing your personal triggers like hot weather or really big meals is half the battle. And gentle exercise like swimming is fantastic for your overall cardiovascular health. And F, that's for fluids and salt. We've talked about water, but staying consistently hydrated is just non-negotiable. And for some people, again with the doctor's okay, adding a bit more salt to their diet can make a huge difference.
So let's wrap this up. That dizzy feeling when you stand up? It's a real medical condition. It's super common, and yeah, it comes with some serious risks. But, and this is the most important part, the power to manage it is totally in your hands. Simple, practical things like drinking water and doing a few exercises before you stand, they can give you a massive amount of control.
So the next time you stand up and that room starts to tilt, don't just shake your head and wait for it to pass. See it for what it really is. It's a signal. It's a direct message from your body, and it's asking for a little bit of help. The only question left is, are you listening?